Morning everyone, welcome back. Another new day. A little frosty up here, I think it's 0. Good coat of frost on all the roofs. So we're working on a little different project today. Kind of cool. It's only 4 years newer than my 59. We got a 63 Pontiac Parisienne, kind of a rare car, and it belonged to a woman, a local woman, and it was parked in a garage in 1978 and left to her grandson when she passed away. And it was pulled out of the barn, or out of the garage, about a month ago, and a points file, and it fired right up, needed new exhaust, and I'll just show you what I have to do to it. Car's in amazing condition. 2-door hardtop. It's got 93,000 miles on it. It's even got the plastic bubble protectors on the headlights. It had about a quarter of an inch of dust on it. They did a really nice job cleaning it up. It's just got some roller wheels on it right now. They don't look the part very well. The sun's probably in a bad spot, but once I get it in the shop, I can show you the interior. And here's what I have to do. The base of the trunk is completely rusted out. I guess there was a blanket or something sitting in there, picked up a bunch of moisture. So we're going to fabricate a new bottom for the trunk bowl here. Okay, we got her up on the hoist here, just kind of assessing the damage. It's really bad up here in the front. There's lots of rash from roads. The one thing I did find is the fuel tank is part of it, where the rear mounts are part of the trunk floor here. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get the bottom all straightened out around the sides here where I'm going to do the cut, and then I can figure out how far up I have to go, how soft it is. There's a couple of holes there, another one there, a couple on this side, another big dent there, and then the front here, this would be from our lovely gravel roads out here. So okay, I'm going to get this all pounded down nice and flat, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to cut it out and how we'll go about her. Okay, I've got this all cleaned up, figured out where I want to cut it, and I used 1/4 inch masking tape to get myself a nice line all the way around. And now we're going to cut the rust out of this, I hope. I guess I'm committed now. She's got a little bit of a hole in it. Okay, now we'll see. I got to clean this opening up a little bit up to my tape line, and then we can make a pattern off of the piece I cut out and get started on it. Okay everyone, we're back again, another new day. So I got everything all cleaned up yesterday. The car, the rim around the trunk is all cleaned up, ready for welding, and I'm working on the repair panel here now. So what I did was I took a piece of brown paper and I made a pattern off of the old trunk floor, and this line here, the outer line on my pattern, is the exact size of the trunk pan that I cut out. The outside where I cut gives me a 1/2 inch hem. That'll give me my overlap, which I'll trim down to the exact size I want. So the next thing I had to figure out was where the radius starts here, where this floor starts to bend up. And it's about 1.75 inches in all the way around on the trunk pan. So my plan is to use the English wheel with the highest radius lower die that I have and the rubber band on the top to allow me to just get a consistent roll in the pan without stretching it. So the next thing I did was I took a caliper with a felt pen on it. I set it at 1.75 inches and I ran it around on this line. And once again, it doesn't have to be exact. It just has to get me in the ballpark here for the center line of where I start the English wheel roll on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a couple reference marks on here so I can orientate this back the same way. And then I'm going to cut it on this line. I'm going to center this on my blank, which I have cut out, and I have all the bead rolls laid out on it, which I'll show you here in a minute. But I'm going to get this cut out, and then I can transfer that center line to my blank, and that'll show me where I have to do the roll up. It's going to require a bunch of shrinking in the corners here, and I'm going to do that after I bead roll, but before I start on the English wheel, if that makes sense. I've got this template on here. What I've done is I've marked the corners, and then I just started the marks on top on all four sides, and I'll use a straight edge to finish them off. Okay, we've got everything laid out here. I marked the center line. I transferred to the other side so that I have one common center line. I marked out all of my beads. My bead roller will only reach in 18 inches, so this is the very furthest I can go. So there's going to be a little bit bigger space between the two center beads here than there is on the outside. There's going to be 7 beads on each side. And what I've done is I've marked both sides of the panel. This is the bottom. And the reason for marking both sides of the panel is I have to pre-stretch all my beads, otherwise this panel is going to warp all to crap. So I'll do the stretching from this side. The beads on this, they push down in the trunk floor, make a little divot, so I've got to stretch them down. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the bead or the planishing hammer or the English wheel for that yet. I'm leaning towards the planishing hammer. It's a little bit more controllable and doesn't cover such a large area. And I drew a stop line here because this is where my radius tips this down. So I want to stop my beads at least 1.5 inches away from that. So I had to eliminate one bead. I got carried away when I was marking them out. So this will be the last bead. And next thing we're going to do is get the planishing hammer set up and get started getting this all stretched out. Okay, we've got the planishing hammer set up. I've got the middle radius die. I'm not sure, they're not marked what they actually are. And I always run about 60 psi when I'm running the planishing hammer, and we're going to run the sheet with the bottom side up so that it'll give me my stretch up, kind of put the curve in it so that when I run it through the bead roller it's pre-stretched and we'll get less deformation in the panel. Okay, I got half of it pre-stretched. Got to rest the arms for a minute, but you can see how much it stretched it. It's probably put a 6-inch curve into that panel. So when I put the beads in, it's going to gather up all that material that I stretched, and hopefully the panel will end up fairly flat. So next I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to run through the planishing hammer till I'm satisfied, and then we'll pull out the bead roller and see if we can screw it up. Okay everyone, I had a little bit of change of plan here. I ended up putting the beads in on the driver's side before I stretched the other side. That curve was going to screw me up too much in the bead roller, so I figured I should do half at a time. I had no problems with warpage. It ended up almost perfectly flat side to side, but I did get quite a bit of curve in it front to back, so it's going to take a little bit of planishing. I do still have to cork the ends of these, which will take a bunch of the stress out and might help out. I'm not too worried about it, because when I put the curve in around the edge, it's going to add a ton of strength to this and probably straighten all of that out for me. Okay, so we've got all of the beads in. I did all the corking. Like I've showed before, this is the homemade corking tool for 1/2-inch beads. Just a piece of 1/2-inch black pipe, 45 cut out to the center, and the edges just rounded over a little bit. And you just give it a good sharp crack on the end of the bead. It makes it nice and round, and it takes a lot of the stress out of the steel. So what I've got to do now, I've got it sitting on my piece of I-beam here, and we've got a little bit of a curve this way, and there's a few areas here that kind of went weird from the bead roller for some reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hard rubber hammer to straighten out the beads to get that curve out of it on top of my anvil, and then any planishing I have to do here, like this little high spot here, there's another one here, I'll just work those out with a body hammer on top of the I-beam there, because it's nice and flat. Okay, so it's way straighter than it was after that beating I gave it with the rubber hammer and a little bit of planishing. So what I'm going to do now is start shrinking the corners. I've got my shrinker set up here, and I'm going to put it in the shrinker, push down slightly on it, and shrink so that it starts the curve going in the correct direction. I'll just get it started here, and then I'll set you up and show you what I'm doing. Okay guys, I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see of this. It's a real awkward process. So what I did was I got started here. I put a few shrinks around while I was pushing down on the outside here to get that curve started. So what I'll end up doing is a couple rounds on each corner with the shallow shrinker, and then I'll go in a little bit deeper with my deep throat one. It doesn't work as well. The frame on it flexes really bad. I'll just see if I can do a couple. It's pretty hard to do this. Hold this thing and stomp on it at the same time. And then the shrinker's flipping and flopping all over the place. You probably don't even have you in frame there. So anyhow, I'm going to keep shrinking the outside edge of this, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I just cut a new piece of rubber for my upper wheel on the English wheel, and I put in my highest radius lower die here. It's going to make sure they're nice and clean. We don't pop any holes in that piece of tubing. And again, all I use is, this is a 15-inch radial tire tube, dirt cheap. I think it was like $8, and you get all kinds of these rubbers out of it instead of paying 25 bucks a piece for them. I find they last pretty good so long as you keep all the sharp edges off the steel. And I put them on inside out. These lines then go on the inside. This is a 2-inch wide top wheel, and I cut the rubber about 2 3/8. That way when you stretch it, it gets narrower and it still stays out to the edges here. So it's pretty tight here and the sun's in the right spot, wrong spot, so I'm just going to see if I can get this thing to start taking some shape. Okay everyone, so the little shrinker didn't cut it. The big shrinker didn't cut it. I had to bring the stump in. And I've been beating my brains out for about 2.5 hours. I'm close. So I've got the first fitment done. I've got the front and the back are fitting really nice. I got the proper curve in them. I just have to pull the ends in. I got to start the bend a little bit sooner, so I think I'm just going to go to the planishing hammer and see if I can bring that up some more, up to the curve where it's supposed to be. If I go over a little, it's pretty easy to take it back out just with some planishing. So I'm going to probably have to do a little bit more shrinking in the 2 front corners there to get them to tuck in. But other than that, I think it's coming out not too bad here. So, okay everyone, into this. This is the 3rd day now. Still working on this trunk pan. I've got the driver's side is almost done. I have to tighten up this radius here just a little bit, get that to pull up, and then I have to start at the back here and get that pulled up. Same at the front, so it's going to need some more shrinking up in that corner, and this needs to just pull up on this side. So I'm going to do some trimming. It's coming up a little bit too high on the outside here. What I did was I run a mark on the inside where it intersects, and I want to be about 3/8 of an inch above that for my weld line. Okay, I've been beating on this for another 1.5 hours. I've almost got the front corners in far enough to match the remaining trunk floor that's in there. Next thing I'm going to do is take it to the planishing hammer and just work out some of the wrinkles around the front end here, a little bit around the back. And then I've just got my final trimming to do. A little bit of sanding, get some of the paint off inside, and we can see how this is all going to fit. It's a bit of a bitch putting it in there. I had an issue. I had it 3/4 of the way up there and in, and it fell, landed on this corner, bent the whole thing in. So been working on that, trying to straighten that back out. Okay guys, it's getting really close. I'm sneaking up on it real gradual. I've got to shrink a little bit more in this corner, a little bit in this corner, and then the 2 front corners, and just kind of roll the top in a little bit. We've got a really good fit everywhere else. I can tighten it up as I start welding, and I just got to roll this edge in just a little bit. It's getting really tough to put it in every time I go to fit it now because everything's so close, and this the original trunk is made out of fairly light stuff, so it wants to flop around. So what I'm going to end up doing once I have the fit I want on the outside, I'm going to go to the inside and I'm going to do a tack all the way around, probably about every 3 inches, to hold everything, and then I'll come out and it's going to get fully welded on the outside to keep crap from getting in. Okay guys, we got the final shaping done and I've got it in place here and tacked. I tacked it every couple of inches all the way around except for these corners, and I have to work those corners in a little bit from underneath. So I'm going to lift it up now and we can start welding this whole pan in and call this job done. Okay guys, we got this one all wrapped up. I used this Dominion Sure Seal brush on seam sealer after I did the complete weld all the way around. And I think it worked out really well. And then I put some rubberized asphalt undercoating on the bottom. Whole lot better than it was. I'll just let it down and I can show you the inside of the trunk as well. Okay, there we have the finished inside. Good thick layer of rubberized rock guard. They shouldn't be able to beat that up too bad. I'll just put you in the tripod here. So that takes care of this project. This car, it's a pretty cool car, but it does need a lot of love. It's got a lot of rust in it. They were just worried you couldn't put anything in the trunk because of that big hole there. So there's a lot of rust in the quarters, the rear quarters, and in the structure on the back side of it here. So yeah, we'll have to see what they do. I think they just wanted to keep it solid for later on in its life. Keep it in the family here. So anyhow, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.